Seeing none, thank you very much for your testimony. Next, we have Betsy Garrett. Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Betsy Gerald. I homestead in Knox, and I serve as president of the board of directors of Food for Maine's Future and as a member of the board of directors of the Belfast Co-op. I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of Food for Maine's Future. Back in 2003, in the face of NAFTA, CAFTA, and Plan Pueblo Panama, et cetera, I participated in the meetings that drafted the legislation, which eventually led to the formation of this commission. I wanted the wording of the legislation to be stronger and the commission to have more enforcement teeth, but these hearings are a good place to start. It is heartening to see that these public hearings are still happening, so I thank you, Senator Jackson and Representative Treat, for keeping this public platform alive and well. When I was asked to come here today and talk about the impact of TPP will have on food security, food sovereignty, and food safety, I had to think long and hard about exactly what to say. If I say food will be less safe because the TPP will negate food safety regulations, and that directly contradicts what Senator Jackson heard me testify over and over again this spring in the legislature, I believe that more regulation does not make safer food. Rather, knowing where your food comes from and who is producing it so that you can make informed decisions about where to spend your food dollars is the key to a safer food system. Notice I did say safe. I did not say safe. Nothing is 100%. Whether your organic carrots come from next door or from China, there is always the chance that they may be contaminated in some way. What I propose is that the farmer next door is not going to deliberately contaminate the produce they sell you in order to make a buck, unlike food manufacturers in China who could and did contaminate infant formula, pet food, eggs, and other food products with melamine in what the World Health Organization calls one of the largest food safety events in recent years. I'm going to read you something written by a young woman affiliated with a group I had the honor of addressing this past summer, Real Food Challenge. This group works with university students to encourage college cafeterias to buy more locally sourced food. This initiative is one of the newer attempts to help small local farmers sell more product locally. Farm to institution sales, just one more income stream that will help family farms keep their heads above water financially. Natalie Yoon, the United Students for Fair Trade, wrote concerning 4 key points about the TPP in our food system. This is what she had to say with some interjections and asides from me. Number 1, small producers will be wiped out. As the TPP removes tariffs and basic protections from international markets, it will be very difficult for small farmers to stay afloat in the face of international competition. In countries like Japan, and I might add in states like Maine, where 80% of the agricultural sector is made up of small farmers, the TPP will wipe out entire communities and replace small farms with large agribusinesses. Number 2, the TPP will drastically bring down food safety standards at home and abroad. Governments will be forced to harmonize their food safety standards to the lowest common denominator. That means soon we will all be eating imported seafood, beef, and chicken that doesn't meet even the basic U.S. standards. The FDA would be powerless to shut down these imports of unsafe foods or food ingredients. Now, this may be a good thing. This is me now. It might encourage more and more folks to buy food where they know the farmer's face, but it also could be an unmitigated disaster. Number 3, we wouldn't be allowed to know where our food comes from or what is in it, like melamine. Food labels would come under fire under the TPP. Transnational corporations like Monsanto are using the TPP to make it illegal to label products as containing GMOs, since it discriminates against them. Corporations have even argued that locally grown labels give unfair advantage to small domestic producers over international businesses. There goes our recently minted GMO labeling bill that we all worked so hard to enact, and even the Department of Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry's own Get Real, Get Maine labeling campaign. Number 4, governments won't be allowed to support local food. Under the TPP, government food procurement policies that prioritize supporting their local economies will be illegal. That means that your public universities, and I would add public schools, public hospitals, et cetera, might not be allowed to intentionally source food from local farmers, since it violates free trade terms by discriminating against foreign farms. Okay, this is me again. Free trade agreements have for years undermined our national economy and caused shipping of manufacturing jobs overseas. Those of us who farm had a false sense of security that at least our jobs could not be uprooted and sold to the lowest bidder. Please help us to continue to believe that by doing all you can to make the TPP, if not a bad notion, abandoned, which is what it should be, at least a document strong enough to protect small local producers, whether they are farmers, fishers, or foresters. Thank you. Thanks.
Any questions?
Can I?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Never mind.
Yes, sure.
Thank you for coming to address the commission. Since you were involved in writing the legislation that enabled this commission to come into being, I wondered whether you have any, I mean, you talked broadly about trade policy, but are there things that you think that the commission itself could be working on that it is not already working on?
Well, I like what Representative Treat said about carrying it to the federal level where all the secret dealings are going on. I think that the stronger you make our voice, the better. I mean, that's about our only recourse. And that's why when we were and this was 10 years ago, so we're counting on my memory at this point. When we were developing this legislation, we thought that the strongest thing we could do would be to have these public hearings where the voice of the public really did get to the state level and then on to the federal level. And that's what we need you to do.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Please do send me that.
I will.
Thank
Seeing
you.
none, thank you very much, ma'am.
Yeah.
Great